What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. Want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Those are the three that we're going to be going over today. We're going to really take an in-depth look at this. We're going to be looking at it on the 4-hour time frame. So each one, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, is all going to be done on the 4-hour time frame. And what I wanted to look at here for Bitcoin was the ascending triangle, and how right now we're getting about a 5 to 6% breakout from the top of this ascending triangle. And what we're looking for, guys, we want this to continue to move. We don't want it to just be some type of 5% failure where we break up and then all of a sudden we start having a busted pattern and start falling back down. So that's definitely something we're going to keep our eye on. But as of right now, we have broken out through the top of this ascending triangle. As you can see down here, we're having our higher lows coming in. We had about 5 different touches on this. So this is also a trend line that I would extend out and continue to watch as the days continue to move on for us here. It's going to be very important. But what I do like for Bitcoin, guys, and this is important, now, we are trading up above on the 4-hour time frame, our 50 moving average and our 200 moving average, as well as our 20 and our 40 EMAs. So that's important. Right now, the trend, guys, as you can see, is up. All the moving averages are up. So what we really need to do is either consolidate in this area that we have right now, or even back test the area we broke out of before we potentially could make our next move. And what you have to realize with ascending triangles like we're dealing with here, throwbacks occur 57% of the time. So what they're talking about is if you break out of an area like we did, and that was around $7,000, you break out 57% of the time, you're actually going to come back to that breakout area, back test it before you potentially make that next move to the upside. And what you can see is here, we're getting some wicks on the 4-hour time frame. So we did have some profit taking up in this area, and that kind of correlates with this overhead resistance area that we're dealing with. We didn't quite hit it, but we're getting close to it, and it's definitely something that I want you to pay attention to. But I do love the fact we are getting a golden cross here on the 4-hour, the 50 moving over top of the 200, but this is still an area where we need to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more cautious, because we haven't had that 15-20% breakout to the upside yet for Bitcoin. Now, Litecoin and some of the other coins are a little bit farther ahead. I know Litecoin, I was trading that. I was playing, I got in at $40.60, and I actually just sold out. And I'll get into all that, guys, the candle that I'm seeing on Litecoin right now. But it's important that we factor all this stuff in and we pay attention to the volume as well. But if we take a look at the relative strength index here, we're at 70, and you can see how we're starting to curve down a little bit. So what I would do for Bitcoin, if I were you guys, I'd pull this up, and this is the trend line I would want to follow on the RSI right here. So here's our trend line, and we'll actually see if we do come back down this area, if we can get a bounce off this trend line. Because, guys, you have to remember, right now, the trend is still up. The trend is up. We're having those higher lows. So typically it will want to continue in that direction. But you have to remember, this is cryptocurrency. I'm not promising you guys anything. But right now it's just an area I would pay very close attention to and see if we do find support off this breakout area of $7,031. So I want to hold for Bitcoin that $7,000 area. That I do not want to start dropping back below that. I definitely don't want to drop back below that 200 moving average that we finally got up above. And that was April 5th. We finally got back up above that 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame, and we need to stay up above that. It's going to be extremely important for us. So that's Bitcoin right now, guys. I personally am not in a Bitcoin position right now. I'm going to be watching it and waiting and patiently seeing what we do as the hours go by here. So the next one I want to look at is Litecoin. If you guys get some from that, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today. And then Litecoin right now, as you can see, it was a little bit more aggressive than what Bitcoin was. So here was our break. This is our ascending triangle. So our higher lows in green, we have our flat top in purple right here. We broke out and we got up through that 200 moving average. But the reason that made me take my profit right now, guys, is basically we're getting pretty overextended in this area. You can see on 4-hour candles, this is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So we had 32 hours of almost a straight shot, and what you can see is that these moving averages now we're starting to gap away from them. We're starting to catch a little bit of air, and then what you can see here is a doji candle, and then what they'll also call one of these spikes, or like a Christmas tree standing at the top. And whenever you get one of those candles, that's a lot of these short-term traders like myself or swing traders taking profits, and what we're waiting for is some type of retracement so that we can jump back in again and catch that higher low and potentially ride up the next leg. But this was heavier volume. We sold off on a doji candle, and then we had this candle right up here, and we were also up around what I sold off. We were about 84, 85 on the RSI on the 4-hour time frame, and that's what I like to trade off of. So for me, guys, I'm patiently waiting for the next great opportunity. And what you can see with Litecoin as well is that we actually did wick up and we hit the bottom of this little bear flag where we dropped down, we moved sideways, then we dropped down again. So we did hit that area of overhead resistance. And what I am still paying attention to, like I said, in these ascending triangles, throwbacks happen 57% of the time. And what they also talk about is always check for support or resistance before trading because they can cause pullbacks or throwbacks. Patterns with pullbacks have post-breakout performance that suffers an average decline of 17% versus 20% for those with pullbacks. Throwbacks have resulted even farther apart. 31% of those with throwbacks and 41% post-breakout rise for those without throwbacks. If you see underlying support or overhead resistance, the stock may reverse there and you may end with a loss. So that's why it's important, guys, always don't ever fall in love with one particular coin or stock or anything like that. Use it as a trading instrument, get what you can out of it, and then continue, to look for the next trade. Remember, guys, Litecoin hasn't treated everybody the best. Bitcoin hasn't treated everybody the best. They will dump or pump on your butt whenever they want to, and they don't care about your emotions. So you shouldn't care about the coins, in my opinion, in terms of Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, all them. Use them as a trading instrument. Do I like Litecoin more than a lot of other coins? Yeah, I do, but I'm not married to it. I guess that's the thing I would say, guys. Really use it as a trading instrument. It runs hard when it makes its moves, but don't ever fall in love with something and say, I have to have this or I have to do this, because, guys, like we've seen, we saw Litecoin go from, almost $400 or whatnot all the way down to $22. And if right now, 3 years ago, I would have said I would have been talking about Litecoin, or 2 years ago, whatever, talking about Litecoin at $45, everyone would have laughed me off this place, said Litecoin's never going back to that. And that's how these things move, guys. I've seen in the stock market $800-900 stocks down to $2 now. So it's always important to trade these things, to swing trade these things, to short-term trade these things. That's how I want to do it. And even right now, guys, if this all of a sudden, this 4-hour candle here in the next 45 minutes or so, all of a sudden we start blasting back up again and we move to the upside, that's fine. You don't go broke taking profits. And when I see an RSI on the 4-hour time frame, like I'm trading up around 86, 87, all that, guys, I'm going to be taking some profit, and I'm going to wait, patiently to see the next great opportunity that I'll have. But I love the fact that our 20 is now crossed over our 200 here. We're starting to get that upside movement, but it's just going to be, are we going to get one of these retracements? Are we going to get a throwback back down into this area before we pump again? So that's something I'm going to pay attention to. And you can also throw a Fibonacci on here where this started with the bullish engulfing candle. We could go up, and you can start looking at some areas. Maybe the 0.382 will be a bounce spot at $43.55, or that 0.5 at $42.27, and that would take us all the way back down into this area. So that's what I'm looking at for Litecoin right now, guys. Overhead resistance areas, we're going to look at roughly about $48, and it's going to be up to $51 for overhead resistance if we continue to make a move up through here. If we do start to have some type of selling off, then roughly, guys, I would start probably looking down around that 43.23 is going to be the area. But ultimately, I want to hold this uptrend. This is what's so important to me, is this green uptrend. We want to stay up above that, and we want to make those higher highs and higher lows, guys. It's always so important. You even see after this, after we had a really nice strong pump, you can see how we fell back down. That's just how this market works over here. Strong pump, you fall back down. So that's why I like to take profits. And as you can see right now, this candle's pretty nasty. That's a pretty long wick. We wicked all the way up to about we'll call it $48, and now we're down around $45.82. On heavier volume. So this is just an area, guys, just be protected. That's the main thing. For me, I wouldn't want to jump in right now. I wouldn't want to jump back in. I'm happy with the profit I took. I'm waiting patiently. So I wanted to put that out there for you all, and then we're going to move into Bitcoin Cash next. So if you like that from Litecoin, like, subscribe. Let me know what you're doing with Litecoin. Did you guys play a short little position? Have you sold out? Are you still riding it right now? Are you going to swing trade it so you wait a little bit longer? I really want to know what you guys are doing. So let me know down low. And then for Bitcoin Cash here, all right, so Bitcoin Cash, I want to get the RSI off here. We can really take a nice look at this. So I was looking to see here if we would get a trend line break. And as you can see, this green trend line right here, we did get a trend line break. We moved all the way up, and it almost looked like we back tested it here. We made a higher low, and now we just made a higher high. So what we're going to be paying a lot of attention to is to see if we can continue to put in these higher highs and higher lows. Now I would also draw a trend line on here. We're going to do this together. So guys, roughly Let's see this here. We're going to try to get as many touches as possible. I want to do this with y'all. So maybe up into this area, about right in there will give us 3 touches, roughly. So we're going to be watching this yellow trend line right here. We want to continue to climb up above that. You can see the golden cross on the 4 hour, the 50 trying to make it up above the 200 happening right there. And then if we are to continue a move to the upside, we're going to be looking at about $275 to the upside, and then it would be up around 352 if we can continue this trend line break that we have. And then to the downside, we would want us to hold about $241 is what we're going to be looking at. But you can see again here, even with Bitcoin Cash, see these longer wicks. If I can highlight this right up in here, these longer wicks right here, guys, and we potentially have a bearish engulfing candle. We had a lot of stalling in here, hanging man candle, doji candle, so a lot of indecision. So this just may be the point where traders are taking profits and we're cooling down a little bit. Our RSI, though, on the 4 hour is at 66, so we're actually doing a little bit better than we were like on Litecoin, how we were a little bit overextended in those type of areas. So that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin Cash, guys. Like I said, I want to stay up above about $241 here. We're just going to have to see if we cool down and if we can continue to find support off this yellow trend line as we continue to make these higher highs and higher lows. That's what we're looking for, guys. Higher highs, higher lows continuously coming in. That's going to define your uptrend. Remember, in a downtrend, just like this, you're always having those lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so just be careful right now. Right now is an area you want to be careful. You want to protect yourself. We may have a little bit more cool down before we pump again, but it's nice to see that we are starting to change that trend and we're starting to trade up above our moving averages. So if you guys get some from this, just want to make it a quick one today. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today. God bless, my friends. Take care.